As Nigerians await the home delivery of the international passport from February next year, the federal government says it will soon issue an order compelling airline operators to start paying compensation to passengers for delayed and cancelled flights not attributed to natural occurrences. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, spoke during a meeting with airline operators in Abuja. Mr. Keyamo said, quote, "If the delay is human fault, the NCAA Act says airline operators will pay. So for all airline operators, while I have praised and supported you, I will also support Nigerians. You will pay them," end quote. However, Mr. Keyamo urged the airline operators to build stable communication channels that enable passengers to get cancellation notices. And for more on this development, let's speak with Wole Shadari, an aviation analyst who joins us live via Zoom from Lagos. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
I'm sure Nigerians will rejoice over this information, but this is not new. I think it's part 19 of the NCAA regulations. But talk to us about the challenges to its enforcement since this was enacted.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace for coming up with this. Because if you look at in the last 3, 4, 5 years, the issue of flight delays and cancellation have become has become worse in Nigeria aviation industry. There's no airline, maybe 1 or 2 airlines that can be, said to have met its on-time departure and the rest. Virtually all the airlines are guilty, and that shows you that to a large extent, the aviation regulatory body has not done what it's supposed to do. And it also baffles me that the Minister of Aviation will compel the NCAA to do what it should do. Because if you look at it, this has really taken the joy out of air travel in the last 3, 4, 5 years. So it's becoming worse. Yes, I agree that the issue of flight cancellation and delays is not totally on the shoulders of the airline. There are infrastructural problems. There are also other issues, VIP movement that has also been one of the factors or some of the factors that have led to this. But in Nigeria, the most annoying aspect of it is that nobody accounts for what they are doing. Even the agencies, look the other way as if everything is okay in the aviation industry. Just last week, the Saudi Arabia Civil Aviation Authority ensured that airlines paid $15.5 million to passengers whose flight had been delayed as a result of their own problem, flight cancellation as a result of their own problem, lost baggage, and some other things that have made aviation in that country not so comfortable for the people. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. Nobody cares about what
it's a big issue you just mentioned, because people will say, look, initially when you fly, it means that you're going to get to your destination faster. Sometimes the person who was taking a bus, will get to their destination before you because of delays and cancellations.
Absolutely.
But I want to ask you, Mr. Shadari, I want to ask you, you just weave that, to what you're saying. We know that there's a CBN regulation that says if you have transferring money and there is being delayed, there's a compensation process, but it takes a lot of time. I don't know if people have the patience to go through that. How can this be enforced in a way that the compensations come almost immediately?
The problem is that a lot of passengers don't even know their rights. If they know their rights, the aviation regulatory body won't take people for granted. The airlines will not also take people for granted. If NCA had done what it's supposed to do, we won't be in this situation. We won't be where we are today. What it shows is that for the minister to call NCA to order, for the minister to tell NCA to do what it's supposed to do, a lot of people will call it interference. But in a situation, the regulatory body is not doing what it's supposed to do. And the minister has taken it upon himself to ensure that these problems are nipped in the bud. We can't continue this way. People want to travel for meetings, people want to travel for conferences, people want to travel for job appointment. And they lose this appointment because a flight that is supposed to take off at 8 o'clock does not take off until 6 p.m. or at times until 4 p.m., 3 p.m. What does that tell people? That tells people that there's a big dysfunction. The aviation industry is dysfunctional. So we need to begin to put some of these,
Absolutely.
look for solutions to address some of these problems. We can't continue this way.
Absolutely.
If an airline is not serious and doesn't know what it's supposed to do, this is when the regulatory body is supposed to weigh the big stick.
And we hope that the
the
regulatory body will wake up to its responsibility. But this is good news.
So.
This is good news for Nigerians. And we'll see how this evolves, and we'll continue to monitor. Thank you so much for your time, as always. Always a pleasure to speak with you. I'm Wale Shadari, an aviation analyst.
Thank you for having me.